Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, here on this sunny Saturday here in the Northeast. Um, Whenever you're watching this, thank you for watching. I wanted to have a kind of a. It's not really a rant, but it's more like a. I'm just going to tell you how it is. Whether you believe me or not, that's entirely your prerogative. Uh, this is my opinion, and it's opinion based on a lifetime of experience in the antique business, because my family has been in the antique business for as long as I've been living. In fact, even my father was selling antiques before I was even born. Uh, there's so I know what I'm talking about. I've dealt with this situation directly for a long time. Now, as most of you know that subscribe here, or a lot of you know, I have problems with people who are cork sniffers and gear snobs. These are people because I believe in playing guitar for playing guitar. I don't believe in playing guitar because, I want any kind of ego or prestige. I believe in playing guitar and entertaining people because it's fulfilling. It's great. It's fun. I've had a blast when I was in the music business for 30 plus years. And I'm still enjoying myself these days. Even though I'm an older guy and I'll have the occasional rant, I'm really enjoying myself. And I'm doing what I've always wanted to do, and I'm retired now. So it's time for the quiet life. But I still have to deal with asshats, and I've been dealing with asshats online a lot. And in fact, I'm dealing with more asshats now than I ever dealt with in the 80s and the 90s and the 70s, and even the early 2000s. Until the social media really took hold, most of the asshats were afraid to say anything because, they're right there in your face. Now people can hide behind anonymity, and they can hide behind the internet, and there's no consequences for their actions. They're going to be as big a asshats as they can possibly be. So I get a lot of that, and I get attacked probably, I'd say, a good once to twice a week. I get somebody attacking me somewhere. Somebody will resurrect a comment I made, a comment thread that is like 2 years, 3 years old. They'll resurrect it and start an argument with me. It's like, get a life, go outside, breathe fresh air, do something, get off social media. But this is the social media world, and we're now in a very much a clown world that we're all living in, and everybody knows why. And I'm not going to go into it. I don't discuss politics and things like that on this channel very much at all, and I try to keep that to a very, very bare minimum. So anyway, I've been getting all these retorts from these guys. They're always pulling something. They always got some excuse why their expensive guitars and their expensive vintage guitars that they overpaid for are worth a lot of money, and mine are just garbage, and my guitars are going to fall apart in a year, and all this other nonsense horse shit that they keep spewing in order to make themselves feel better and pump up their own egos. Meanwhile, all their little buddies are chittering behind them going, see, you really get that guy. But no. They're really the fools, and fools leading fools. One of the most common arguments that I've had to deal with against budget guitars is resale value. Now, these people buy guitars, and the first thing in their heads before they even consider buying the guitar is, how much am I going to get when I sell this thing? Now, think about that. You buy something to play, to entertain people, hopefully. Otherwise, why are you buying it? And you're only buying it thinking of the resale value, then in my opinion, and yes, this is my opinion, you're not a guitar player, you're a reseller. You're a reseller. And a lot of these guys are, and here's the proof that they're idiots. Here's the proof that these guys have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea how the used equipment, used merchandise, antique business works. They have no idea how it works. They're buying these guitars, and then one guy argued with me this morning. He didn't really argue with me, but he sat there and attacked me over it. And he said that he bought a guitar, and it's an old '73 Fender, and it's worth $3,000 to $4,000, and it's a nest egg for his kids. Now, he's buying these expensive things for his children, thinking that he's going to get full price, or they're going to get full price after he's gone. It's a pipe dream. And this is coming from somebody who's a veteran from the antique business. Okay? If you think you're going to get full value for anything that you buy, any object, unless it's something very rare and there are people fighting each other to try and get it, you are not going to get full value for it. That is just the way it works. And if you sell it to a store, you're going to get 10% of that full value. Stores only pay 10 cents on the dollar for the values of a guitar. So say you've got a guitar like a Gibson. Say you've got a Gibson Les Paul that's worth $2,000. The guitar store is only going to give you $200 for it, maybe $250 if you're lucky. And that's all you're getting. If you honestly think, or you can put it on consignment and they'll rip even more money off of you as they jack up the price and try to get it. And it'll sit there for a long time too before it'll be sold. Now let me go into my history so I can explain exactly what was going on and why I know these things. Okay? When I grew up, my father collected antiques, and he was collecting antiques before I was born. The house was stuffed with antiques. There were little paths that you could walk through. We couldn't even sit in our living room. There were so many antiques everywhere. Everywhere. And these antiques were probably worth well over $1 million. If you looked up their values, a lot of them were worth $2,000-$3,000 and things like that. There was a lot of valuable stuff, but there was also a lot of other stuff because he wanted to make sure that he had enough. It was not only an obsession with him, but it was also he wanted to have enough. He grew up in the Depression. He wanted to have enough that he could, pad whatever in case somebody, because he knew not everybody's going to give the value of something. So he wanted to make sure that he had enough padding in there. And he bought it, so he bought a lot of stuff in bulk. Bought a lot of stuff. And with that, he bought 2 of our houses. The first house we lived in Connecticut, he bought that with antique money. And, this was at a time when it was, was low. Excuse me. And then the house we bought in New Hampshire, he also paid for through the sale of the house in Connecticut and antiques. But we did have to start to bring a lot of antiques up with us. We brought 10 15-foot truckloads of antiques, just antiques. We had to pack that and bring that up here in the 80s. And so it was a lot of work, and he didn't sell everything. In fact, he only sold like, I think 40 grand of antiques, and that was it, because the market was starting to die. All right, so the market was great from the 60s to the 80s. In the 80s, it started to die. Right now, these guys, obviously, whoever these resale moguls who are buying guitars, are claiming they're guitarists and posing as guitarists. Right now, they have no idea what the market is. I don't know who they're talking to, but they're going through their own little cloud. And the economy is in the toilet, okay? Right now, our economy is garbage. It is absolute garbage. There are stores closed. We've got all this other health crisis stuff going on. And I don't want to say the name because then YouTube goes nuts and closes down your video. So, right now, the market is as dead as it's ever been. And my father passed years ago, over a decade ago, and we've been selling his stuff. At first, they came and they got the most valuable stuff, and that only went to auction. And you know how much we got of the value of it? Oh, about 20 to 30%. And then the auctioneers charged us for the truck, and they charged us for their time and all this other stuff. So we only got 20 to 30% of the value of the stuff that we got, and that's because of the market. People don't have the money these days. If you've looked at the job situation, most of our jobs. Have you ever noticed that if you buy something like an electronic device and you call up tech support, you're talking to somebody in India or the Philippines or somewhere else overseas? Our jobs are gone. Look at Detroit. Look at Pennsylvania. Look at all the steel towns that are all ghost towns now. Look at all the places where they used to manufacture cars. It's all gone. In fact, we manufacture barely anything. We sold some lumber over in our we have 6 acres of land. And so we had a guy come in, a logging company, and he got a bunch of stuff and got a bunch of, we didn't get a lot of money for it, which was surprising. Maybe $600-700 or $1,000, around $1,000. I don't remember. It was a while ago. It was years ago. But we sold off a bunch of lumber. But that lumber wasn't going to America. It was being exported. So our resources are being exported. Our goods are being imported. We are not making anything anymore. It's all being made overseas. You buy it, for instance, you buy a Les Paul, a Gibson Les Paul guitar today. 10 to 1, the person who's winding the pickups is from Mexico. I mean, Seymour Duncan already had an expose of their best winder is a woman working on a green card from Mexico. And so a lot of these things are being made overseas or being made here by labor from overseas. Also, there was one of the videos where the guy works on guitars, and he opened up the Gibson, brand new Gibson, and he looked on the inside of the jack plate, and it said made in China. So Gibson is now using Chinese parts. So our economy is garbage. Our economy is in the toilet. The jobs are gone for the most part. We hardly manufacture anything anymore, and also all the service jobs are gone. So the economy is in the toilet. People are desperate for money. They're not going to buy your $3,000 to $4,000, $5,000 guitar at cost. They're going to try and get it for, if they want to make an investment in it, if they're as dumb as you are about it, then they're going to go and pay maybe a small fraction of what it's worth. And you either take it or you don't. And you can't buy food with a guitar. You can't buy food with an antique. You have to sell these things. And if people know you're desperate, if a lot of people don't buy what you're going to buy, and if they get wind that you're desperate, they're going to rip you off even more. So you have to realize this. And if you don't believe what I'm telling you, go look on eBay. Look under antiques. Look at all these antiques that are worth a lot of money. Watch a couple of them. Hit the watch button for them. And watch how they don't sell. We had this one. It was like an iron mold of like a Jello mold from I can't remember the name of the company, Griswold, and this thing is worth $500. It's an iron Santa Claus Jello mold. Okay, it's worth $500. I think we still have it, and I don't know if we do, if we don't. But anyway, I watched, and somebody had put it on eBay at $300. Not ours, but one of theirs. It went for a year, and no one even looked at it, and they just finally just took it off and stopped selling it. That's the thing. These things are not selling. You got to realize what an economy we're in right now. And it's not going to come back very fast, if it ever comes back, because you're going to have to completely change over everything that's going on in Washington in order to bring the jobs back, and that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's always garbage in, garbage out, and since this outsourcing of jobs has been going on since the late 70s, and it's going to continue going on, and until we've got barely anything left. I mean, it's almost all gone as it is. You're not going to sell your $3,000 to $4,000 guitar for $3,000 to $4,000. You'll be lucky if you get $300 to $400 for it, unless you can find a collector. And good luck finding a collector, because that is not going to happen. People are not willing to pay for it when they don't have the money. So you making an investment in something, you're just being suckered when you buy it. And when you sell it is when you're going to realize what's going on. Okay? A guitar investor, someone who thinks they're a guitar player and buys the guitar with the resale value in mind, which to me is just an excuse to pump up their ego. The resale value in mind, you're not a guitar player. You're a reseller. You're a dealer. That's what you are. You're an instrument dealer posing as a guitar player. People buy guitars in order to play them, to entertain people. No famous guitarists have I ever heard say, well, I bought this so that I could resell it later. Never heard that. Never read it in an interview. Never heard it. Never heard it from Jimmy Page, Tom Scholz, anybody. Nobody. Never heard them say, I bought this so I could sell it later. They didn't. That's what it comes down to. So, if you're going to buy something and you're going to think that you're going to get a ton of money from it, and you're going to use resale value as an excuse, you're guitarded, as Scott Grove says. You have no idea what you're doing, and you're just making excuses. That's all there is to it. Prepare for disappointment when you go to sell it, because you're going to get disappointed. That is a given. People are not going to give you $3,000 to $4,000 for your 1973-74 Fender. It's just not going to happen unless it's rare, unless it's something you can't find anywhere and somebody famous owned it. Then you might get $3,000 to $4,000, but you're not going to get the value of it. Your kids won't get the value of it, and you're going to end up screwing them over. That's all I got to say. Make wise investments. Don't make investments in objects. You know, if you're going to make any investments at all in this day and age. Because objects depreciate. And if you're buying an object that's a collector's item, you better find a collector to buy it, or you're going to be very, very disappointed. And you're going to be sitting with the object while you wait years and years and years, possibly decades, for someone to pay for it. And you might never, ever, in fact, there's a great possibility you'll never, ever have somebody buy it anywhere near its value. Have a good day.